Okay, it's Alex from Mature Gaming, and I am with
Alex Toplansky, creative producer of Dead Island Riptide from Deep Silver.
Excellent, good to meet you. Now, we want to talk a little bit more about Dead Island Riptide, what the game has to offer players who are coming back from having experienced the original Dead Island. Can you tell us a little bit about what they're going to be seeing in this that's completely new, and some of the stuff that they wanted to be upgraded a little from the original?
So we'll start off with stuff that's completely new. The first thing is that the island of Palanai is a completely new island, and we've really got a scope of content that's rivaling that of the original game. There are tons of new areas to explore, big open areas like the flooded jungles and the city of Henderson. We've also got things like boats, our new transportation method for getting around. Now you finally got a chance to kind of have your gunship with your friends and get out there and kick some zombie butt in the floods. Returning players are going to have a lot of great stuff. First of all, they're going to be able to import their Dead Island characters, which is a really nice thing to be able to do. We've raised our level cap to 70, and we've got tons of new weapons. We've got new zombies. We've got lots and lots of crazy stuff to see and explore, and so that's really just kind of the tip of the iceberg. I think one of our favorite features that we're bringing to the game is the new hub defense mission type, where you're going to be able to finally set up these big fortifications with fences and miniguns and mines, and using all of the tools that you've got at your disposal to ward off just huge invading hordes of zombies.
Excellent. And looking at Dead Island from a newbie's perspective, because I've dipped into the original, I haven't played it as much as other people have, but it strikes me as a very sort of heavily influenced game from a sort of Borderlands perspective, where you have a party of players and you've got to get from point A to point B and sort of make sure that you complete quests and objectives and all of that good stuff. But how does this remain faithful to the real sort of chaotic action game, and in what direction do you sort of want it to lean in terms of, appealing to zombie fans?
Well, I think, there are a number of different ways to tackle the zombie genre. I mean, it can be something that, is really intense, crazy, you've got one bullet all the time, and, and everything is breaking and is gone. You can only escape with, an ice pick or something like that. I think, we've definitely gone in a direction that sometimes it's okay to be a little bit more over the top, have a little bit more entertainment value to it, and I think that that's exactly what we're accomplishing with Riptide. We know that our fans, love running around, finding crazy ways to take out these zombies and be creative with the kinds of kills that they do. So, by adding things like some of the new abilities, things like John Morgan's, our new fifth playable heroes, crazy rapid fire punching and stuff like that. We've got his uppercuts and running kicks and all kinds of moves that are guaranteed to make these zombie hits bigger than they've ever been before. But we definitely want to move in this direction of making sure that it's satisfying to run around killing these walking piñatas full of loot. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Okay, can we talk a bit about the skill systems and the leveling and what's changed, what's different, and what remains more or less the same in the original Dead Island? And also tacked onto that is the question of what do you do if you're a high-level player from the original Dead Island and you're, say, playing with your buddy who's a new player to Dead Island? How does that work out? Just talk a bit about that sort of stuff.
Sure. So I'll just start off by talking about the skill system a little bit in general. So as I mentioned before, we've raised our level cap now from 60 to 70. And players are going to be able to see, new expanded skill trees and stuff like that. We've also got some new features in the way that skills work. Things like the weapon proficiency system, which lets you specialize in a weapon class of your choice and get bonuses and more durability and stuff like that, and make sure that you really build up with those things. We've also got new character loadouts to start out each character with, and that should make it a little bit easier to figure out in the beginning: are you going for combat or are you going for survival? With regard to the question of multiplayer groups, we think it's really important not to split up a party just because they're different levels. And maybe you're a returning Dead Island player and you want to play with somebody who's totally new. You might be importing your level 60 endgame character and you may be playing with somebody who's level 1. So we've made sure to kind of deal with that, scaling the difficulty in multiplayer for the different players, so they each see what they need to see with the zombies, and they each have the right amount of health for what they're fighting against. They're contributing in a balanced way.
So that means that a level 60 player will fight level 60 creatures and a level 1 will fight level 1 creatures. Is that more or less the...
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for, right?
Okay. So the world that this is set in, we've got a lot of water, we've got a lot of the dynamic weather system now. How exactly does water change the game in terms of what a player can do with zombies and what zombies can do with a player with the water mechanic involved?
So we want water to be one of these things that, Dead Island's all about this contrast of paradise and hell, overlapping. And water, especially in Dead Island, has been something that's just drop dead gorgeous. It's a beautiful element in the game. But we wanted to play with that a little bit and make it something that kind of players are learning to be a little bit afraid of and learning to kind of stay back from, because even these, beautiful clear waters can be full of these hordes of drowners, which are one of the new zombie types we're introducing. So these guys are going to, appear like these, groups of dead corpses around. You're never going to quite know who's going to pop up and when, and it really kind of reinforces this tension. And at the same time, some places like the city of Henderson have these big flooded areas that you can choose to sort of dive down into the depths of the city, these sort of darker, more dangerous areas, and know that there are going to be drowners, there are going to be more zombies, but also all the sweet loot that everybody dropped on their way out of the city. So you're going to have to kind of choose how much of this water do you want to immerse yourself in. Of course, as I mentioned before, the boats are going to be a big part of that, and we're going to give players a way to kind of rise above literally the craziness of the tides underneath. But it's definitely going to be something that is important to a lot of quest objectives as well. Getting rid of water, getting over water, getting past things that are flooded. The monsoons have really had a huge effect on the island of Palanai, particularly because in the wake of the zombie tragedy, nobody's really been there to clean up the damage of the water. So now it's going to kind of be up to you to figure it out.
Okay, and talking about the story a little bit, do we have more NPCs who are more involved in what the players are doing and how they're going about their business of trying to survive this new hell that they found themselves in, and the zombies and the zombie apocalypse and all of the lore that's surrounding this particular zombie apocalypse and how you've chosen to do it? Do we get to discover more about the dead and about the plague and about where all of this sort of thing is going?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, first of all, in the original Dead Island, we were dealing with a situation that was just totally chaotic and anarchic. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew where this thing came from or what to do. Now we're playing through the eyes of 4 characters who survived the initial wave and are now here in this second part of this outbreak here in Palanai. And so they're, in a way, kind of the only guys who have any real experience with this. And they're more maybe suited to kind of lead a group of survivors through this tragedy. So the hope here is that we're able to tell a little bit more of a tight story about this group of survivors, that maybe with people who have a little bit more insight into what's going on now that a little bit of time has passed, about a week and a half. Definitely we're going to learn a little bit more about the origins. We've got some nice little pieces of lore to hook people to and get people excited about what's coming up.
Okay. I know this is still very early on in terms of a development stage, but what about downloadable content? Can we talk a bit about what's planned possibly for release alongside? Is there anything being released alongside Dead Island? Because, this is one of those questions. I know it's a pain in the ass, but everyone wants to know, what do they get for, say, buying there's going to be a premium editions of the game, and there's going to be various other things. What do they get for their extra bucks thrown into there?
Well, so we've got, of course, our pre-order bonus. It's just the survival pack that includes our awesome barbecue blade weapon. It's one of our personal favorites. And we've also got the access to sort of a premium weapons vendor there who's going to be able to sell people stuff. Not any microtransactions or anything like that, but just some high-end weapons through a special vendor. We've also got the Fashion Victim pack available with alternate skins for our different heroes, and that should be a lot of fun. But at the moment, that's what we've got in the pipe for now.
Okay, great. So, looking at how players like to customize their characters and tailor them to specific needs, are there ways in which players can, say, dive into specific situations that they want to survive against? So, is there a multiplayer mode where you're not necessarily playing through the campaign, but you've got to sort of survive a scenario or a few scenarios where zombies are being hurled at you? Can they involve themselves in this sort of multiplayer experience of co-op without the story, or is it a straight co-op experience through a campaign scenario? What I mean by that is, are there other multiplayer modes? Basically, that's a better way of putting it, I guess.
I think one of the things that we learned from the original Dead Island and things like our Bloodbath Arena DLC is that it's really nice to be able to roll up a lot of these ideas into a big open experience for a group of 4 players, and that's really what we've tried to do with Riptide. I think the one of the difficulties with multiple modes is that you always risk splitting up groups and having different people wanting to try do different things and stuff like that. It's nice when you're all in the same place together and you can kind of say, okay, we've got this big open world sort of area to explore. Where do we want to go next? What do we want to do together? And so we've got a big variety of different activities and different types of missions. As I mentioned, hub defense is going to be a really cool part of the game. But this is stuff that we're hoping that people will kind of find together organically as they progress through the game and explore, rather than kind of dividing it up into specific modes like that.
Okay, so it's not a sugar rush. It's an experience that you share together in multiplayer sense.
Exactly.
Okay, and the guns now, I understand we've got more of them. We've got more ammunition. We've got more in the way of ways to kill zombies. So can we talk a bit about the different firearms that are available to players now, and will they need to be worried constantly about ammunition in the same way they were worried about it in the first game?
So we've done a lot of work to improve firearms in Riptide and make sure that it's now kind of a viable route to play the game. Originally in Dead Island, you kind of were hoping to have a situation where you just have one clip at any given time, and that's something that it really came into focus in the end game. Now in Riptide, we've got more ammo available, distributed more earlier in the game, better selection of weapons, and we've got most importantly, vastly improved targeting and ballistics, making sure that the system really feels tight, works correctly, and does damage the way it's supposed to do. So now, yeah, definitely firearms are full force in Riptide.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Alex from Mature Gaming. I've been talking to...
It's been fun, thanks. This is Alex from Deep Silver.
Okay, good to talk to you. Cheers.